Clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Garcia. Councilor Garcia.
Yes,
Councilor
present.
Vido.
Present.
Councilor Avellaneda. Councilor Rodriguez. Councilor Lopez. Councilor Brown. Councilor Pearl Latonda. Councilor Tejada.
Present.
Councilor Robinson. Councilor Bishop. Councilor Recupero. 9 members present. Madam Chairman, you have a quorum. First order of business is memorials and celebratory resolutions. First resolution introduced by Councilor Robinson, all members of the City Council. Whereas the Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus aims to celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month and leaders who make our communities thrive. And whereas the Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus has presented its unique citation to Marilyn Garcia for her work in civic engagement, education, business, and other fields. And whereas the citation will serve as an official recognition of Marilyn Garcia's work from the members who represent the MBLLC. And whereas the Speaker, Robert A. DeLeo, 19th Suffolk, was the nominating legislature who said Marilyn Garcia is a person who goes above and beyond for the people in her community and the communities around her. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Chelsea City Council, wish to go on record as to congratulate Marilyn Garcia on going above and beyond, helping people in her community and surrounding communities.
Chair recognizes Councilor Robinson.
Unanimously under suspension. I'll be very brief. I had the opportunity for years to be associate with Marilyn, who just does an outstanding job here in our community at Chelsea Restoration, where they've done the first-time home buyers, and over the years they've done about 250 people who bought houses in Chelsea, and 50% of those are still living in Chelsea. So I tip my hat off to Marilyn and Chelsea Restoration.
Councilor Tejada.
Yeah, well, I've known Marilyn and Helen and them for quite a while. And, you know, we're very fortunate. I do the classes here and there at the Chelsea Restoration for the first-time homebuyers. And I can tell you that from day one, and we're talking over 25 years now, this young lady has been just on point, helping people. If you are stuck in traffic and you need to get something done, you call her, it gets done. It's, you know, our Chelsea residents are very fortunate to have you there at the helm with Helen running that thing. It runs smoothly, and you guys really, you've made a difference, because if we look around Chelsea, there's a large population that is owner-occupied, and it's because of the work that you do. So thank you.
Any other councilors? Councilor Brown.
Thank you. I want to congratulate Marilyn Garcia. I congratulate her sister today in her honor, but I'm glad both of them are here, and also Helen Suko and her son. Again, just as the councilor stated, that you have been a pillar in our community. You've helped out so many. Even before it was really what they call politically correct to do the right thing, you was always helping that population that Councilor Tejada is speaking about, the Latino community, to understand the process, to help them, let them know that, hey, you can get this house, your credit, your scores, your ability to pay is up to par. A lot of them weren't sure that they could afford a house, but you made it easy. You worked with Helen, and you offered those workshops, and the day-to-day, you brought those buyers in to help them. So we're grateful that you have helped so many, and we're celebrating this recognition of your day, not only from us, but from the State House representatives, from the Speaker, Bob DeLeo. Congratulations, and thanks for all your work you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Any other councilors wish to speak? Councilor Robinson, I'm sorry. Okay, so we'll suspend the meeting for a couple of seconds. We'll present the award. Congratulations. I'm going to read it.
Go ahead.
What is it?
John Letitia.
Letitia?
Yeah,
Letitia?
Letizia.
We have a resolution introduced by Councilor Robinson and all members of the Chelsea City Council. Whereas John Letitia, a Revere resident, has been employed by the Community Action Inner City, Inc., CAPIC, since September 19, 1993. And whereas John Letitia has served as fiscal director for 26 years and performed an exemplary manner throughout his tenure. Any glasses? And whereas John has made substantial contributions toward reducing poverty in Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop, and whereas John has endeavored to go above and beyond what is expected, and whereas John has helped clients and CAPIC employees to have a better quality of life, and his innovation and financial creativity have improved the lives of thousands, and whereas John has maintained sound fiscal practices and met his fiduciary responsibility. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Chelsea City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Chelsea, extend our appreciation for his extraordinary work while helping those in need. Chair recognizes Councilor Robinson.
Suspension. This will be presented to John at the CAPIC annual board meeting at the end of the month.
Thank you, Councilor. Next order of business.
Next resolution introduced by Councilor Vido and all members of the City Council. Whereas on October 28, 2019, the City of Chelsea will officially celebrate Arbor Day. And whereas as part of this special day, the Massachusetts Tree Wardens and Foresters Association will come to the City of Chelsea to plant a public shade tree. Whereas children, parents, community leaders, public officials, and municipal employees are invited to participate in the planting event. And whereas this event helps to ensure that the city maintains its status as a Tree City USA. And whereas this year the City of Chelsea has officially been recognized as a Tree City USA for its 15th year by the National Arbor Day Foundation. And whereas being a Tree City USA gives Chelsea the benefits of having more state resources to further enhance the quantity and quality of trees in Chelsea. And whereas the Tree City USA Award is given by the National Arbor Day Foundation in cooperation with the National Association of State Foresters and the USDA Forest Service to recognize environmental improvement and encourage higher levels of tree care throughout America. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the City Council, would like to recognize the efforts of the Department of Public Works and the community for their work toward improving Chelsea's environment via an enhanced tree program, for securing the Tree City USA status for the 15th year in a row, and for having a successful 2019 Arbor Day event.
Can I have a motion?
Under suspension if there are no objections.
Seeing none, so moved. Is there anybody here from, would you like to be presented your resolution? Yeah, okay, so Judith, suspend the rules for a couple of minutes to present DPW with the resolution. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 4 minutes.
My name is Roman Pucko. I live at 191 Linfield Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. First of all, I'd like to talk about the U.S. Census. The city manager explained that the U.S. Census allocates funds to states for grants. The more people we can get counted, the better chance Massachusetts will get grant money and we'll have a good chance of obtaining grants. The city manager has done an excellent job in obtaining grants to help the city with its success. Second item is the 911 emergency line. I spoke on this before. Normally, there are 2 men on duty when it's busy, only 1 man on duty when it's not busy. We've got a tremendous Hispanic population here. It would be beneficial so that a Spanish-speaking person be on duty at all times. Because seconds save lives. There are staff contacts for 911 on the citywide website. I attended a meeting where the person in charge spoke. How do I contact him? What is his name? It doesn't appear on the website. The third item, I want to let everyone know that I have tremendous knowledge and experience in traffic control. I worked on the Big Dig, and I have to teach Bechtel people all about traffic. I also was reprimanded plenty of times by my superior for helping the people with the Big Dig. The person in charge from Bechtel, like most of the people from Bechtel, worked on power plants. He had absolutely no knowledge of traffic. But I sat with him plenty times and went over this. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Northeastern University. My work involved power plants, heavy construction, hospitals, etc. I worked on the Big Dig on the Mass Avenue interchange. It was very complicated, had an awful lot of traffic signals, and I helped out tremendously, but I was reprimanded for doing that. But it was necessary.
1 more minute.
Shortly, you will be asked to approve proposals for Broadway. I would be happy to meet with all the city councilors or any interested member to explain traffic flow and traffic control. There's no one solution, and compromises must be made. You must remember, monitoring and enforcement is a must. Remember, you can't put 10 pounds of product into a 5-pound bag. You'll be responsible for making a decision. Make sure you have the proper knowledge and understanding of traffic on Broadway. I understand that no one on the city council has knowledge of traffic and traffic flow. I'm willing to sit down with anyone and try to explain it so they have a little better understanding of what it's all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pucko. Thank you. Mr. Pucko, did he say his address?
191.
Linfield Street.
Thank you.
The administrative assistants have all my data, and if worse comes to worse, I ask to use the U.S. Postal System.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pucko. Anybody else for public speaking? Public speaking going once, going twice. Approval of minutes. Councilor Lopez moves to accept and file a communication under suspension. See no objection, so moved.
First communication from the city manager, notice of waiver of intent. Dear councilors, pursuant to the Administrative Code, Section 112.02, I am writing to notify you that it is my intention to appoint Mr. James H. Cameron Jr., 1 Bob Road, Beverly, Massachusetts, to the position of City Yard Supervisor, Timekeeper, and to grant him a waiver from the residency requirements set forth in Administrative Code Part 4, Section 112.01. Mr. Cameron has been employed by the DPW for the past 16 years and a foreman for the past 12 years. A copy of his resume is attached. In accordance with Section 112.02, I request that you provide me with any comments on the proposed waiver within 7 days.
Can I have a motion? Seeing none, so moved. Thank you, councilors. Next order of business. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead.
We have a communication from the city manager regarding the municipal electric aggregation. Dear councilors, I am writing to follow up to the October 2nd, 2019 subcommittee meeting regarding municipal electric aggregation. Based upon the positive response to the presentation, I respectfully ask that the city council vote to authorize the city to develop a municipal electric aggregation plan for submission to the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities. A draft order to that effect is attached. If the council approves this authorization, the process going forward will be as follows. The city will, through some competitive process, hire an energy broker to assist us in designing the aggregation plan. The draft plan will be developed with the input of the Department of Energy Resources. Once the draft plan is developed and before submission to the Department of Public Utilities, I will return to the City Council for a second vote seeking approval to file the proposed plan with the DPU. No plan will be submitted to the DPU without the City Council's express approval. After a plan is submitted to the DPU, it may take as much as 6 months for approval. Following DPU approval, the city will then, through a formal RFP process, solicit competitive bids for a municipal electric supplier. Once a new electric supplier is selected and a contract executed, then the city will notify all members of the community who are basic service customers of Eversource that their electric supply will be switched. This communication will include information on the new rates and the comparison with Eversource's basic service rates. All customers in the city will have the opportunity to opt out before the switch. Further, as mentioned repeatedly, the city will ensure that customers will be able to opt out at any time thereafter without penalty. For the City Council's convenience, I have attached to this letter a pamphlet prepared by the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, which does a very nice job of outlining and describing the program implementation steps in detail. I respectfully request approval of the authorization to proceed with development of a plan. Once approved, the city will seek an appropriate energy broker to assist with the plan. Can I have a motion, please? Thank you, Councilor.
The next communication from the city manager, home rule petition for additional all alcohol licenses. Dear councilors, as you know, the city currently has reached its limit on the issuance of all alcohol licenses. The city's current limit is set by statute based upon population. And until the new population figures are released from the upcoming 2020 census, which likely will not occur until the beginning of calendar year 2021, the city's limit on such licenses will not be adjusted without legislative relief. Because several councilors have expressed to me concern about this problem, and because it does constrain our ability to attract additional hotels and restaurants to the city, it may be time to restart discussions on a home rule petition for additional licenses. Based upon information in the city's files, it appears the City Council has considering such a petition in 2014, but for some reason decided against its adoption and submission to the legislature. For discussion purposes only, I have drafted a home rule petition very similar to the one under consideration in 2014. This proposal as drafted would allow for an additional 10 licenses to the city limited in hotels, restaurants, and large function halls. Similar to the 2014 proposal, these additional licenses would be Chelsea licenses only and not transferable by the licensee. If the licensee sold or closed his business or otherwise no longer had need for the license, the license would revert immediately to the city. At this point, I would suggest that we have a subcommittee meeting to discuss the pros and cons of seeking this special legislation and invite representatives from the business community to attend.
Councilor Brown?
That it be sent to the subcommittee on conference.
Seeing no objection, so moved. Thank you, Councilor Brown.
Send to the conference?
Yep.
Next communication received from the city manager, street and sidewalk reconstruction work. Dear councilors, I am writing in response to the recent city council orders for the city to replace streets and sidewalks on Marble Street and East Side Avenue. The Public Works Commissioner and I have conferred on these requests. We concurred that both of these streets are in need of reconstruction. It is our intent to include both streets on our street and sidewalk reconstruction list for the calendar year 2020 construction season.
Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Lopez moves to accept and follow communication under suspension. Seeing no objection, so moved.
That's it on the city manager communications. Under communications, we have a copy of a communication received from the city clerk, Jeanette Cintron White, regarding the warrant for the city election, November 5th, 2019. You'll have an order under new business. You can accept and file this and under new business. We have a copy of a communication received from the City Council Clerk, Paul Casino, regarding attendance reports requested by Councilor Bishop.
Councilor Bishop. Seeing no objection, so moved, Councilor. Yeah, you have the floor.
The council, as you know, meets twice a month in regular session. And occasionally we meet in special meetings. I requested an attendance record so that we could all reflect on how we're doing and how we're doing attending meetings. We have had, in the last 10 months of this year, 2 of which we don't meet, July and August. So over 8 months, we had 28 conferences in addition to our regular council meetings. These conferences are held in the anteroom, in our fact-finding meetings, and a lot of ideas and results and come out of those meetings, and we're all expected to attend them. So we sit there, and at the last one I was sitting there, oh, we're going to get 6? As it turned out, we did get 6 after about 10 minutes. We had to wait about 10 minutes to start the conference to make it an official conference. So I asked for an attendance record. I hope we all look at it and, and do our best to try to attend those meetings in the future. It's very, very, very important. Recently, this year, as you are all aware, the school committee had an issue with attendance of meetings and subcommittee meetings. Some of those attending the meetings were a little dismayed because they were going and other people weren't going, other members of the committee. Therefore, some of the members that did attend the meetings wound up resigning from the committee. And what good did that do? It left them in more of a jackpot. So I hope the school committee will do something similar to this to let the members and the public know who's attending these meetings and who's not. And I think it's something that should be done every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bishop. I'd be remiss to not express or say that Councilor Recupero has 100% attendance for city council meetings, and that is very impressive. He has the best score out of all the councilors. So congratulations, Councilor Recupero.
The next communication is a copy of communication received from Roseanne Bongiovanni, Executive Director of Green Roots, and Patrick Herman, Executive Director of Mystic River Watershed Association, requesting support for Bill H. 3976.
Do we have a motion? Do we want to read it out loud? I'm going to read it.
Go ahead.
It's a communication.
Green Roots.
Move to waive the reading and accept and file the communication.
Thank you.
And I believe the letter is available for the members to sign.
To sign.
If they
Yep.
choose to do so.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, that's it on communications. Let me see, committee reports, none, unfinished business, second readings.
There's something unfinished business?
You want to what?
Put your microphone down. So you'd like to,
Remove from the table?
I would like to untable the ordinance and vote on it for the hens, 2 hens.
so that's a roll call, right?
No, unless someone asks for it. No,
Okay, so it's properly before
Bobby-
us. Now, what do you want to do with it?
Probably wants roll call. Taking it from.
Okay, so Councilor Bishop is moving to have a roll call on whether or not we take it out of table.
Yes would be to remove it from the table, no would be to leave it on the table. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Vido,
Yes.
Councilor Avellaneda absent. Councilor Rodriguez? No. Councilor Lopez? Yes. Councilor Brown? No. Councilor Pilatanda?
Yes.
Councilor Tahada?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
No.
Councilor Bishop? No. Councilor Ray Recupero? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have the chickens before you.
What would you like to do with the chickens, Councilor Recupero?
We would like to vote on it, if it's possible, to adopt the ordinance, to have 2 hens.
We don't even have it before us.
Yeah, I have it.
You have,
I'll read it, yeah.
can we read it out loud?
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm clear. Whereas the Chelsea City Council has authority to adopt ordinances to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all residents of the city of Chelsea. Whereas the city of Chelsea wishes to allow for residents to raise domestic chickens without need for a Board of Health permit. Now therefore be it ordained that the revised Code of Ordinances of the city of Chelsea, as amended, be further amended as follows. An ordinance revising Part 2, Chapter 4 of the Chelsea Code of Ordinances. Amendment 1, that Chapter 4, Section 4.9 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Chelsea, Massachusetts, is hereby amended by adding at the end of the first sentence the following new terms. Except that 2 hens, but no roosters, I'm sorry. Except that, okay, I almost said rosters. Except that 2 hens, but no roosters, may be allowed per parcel without need for Board of Health of approval, end quote. These changes shall take effect as of January 1st, 2020. You want to move this to a roll call vote? But I feel like Cheryl was trying to say something to me. Can I just call a well, suspend the rules for a couple minutes so you can address the city council and we can ask any questions?
So I thought at the last meeting, there was a friendly amendment for 4, so you just read it for 2. I just wanted to clarify that.
So there's an amendment in there for,
Prior to laying it on the table, there was a friendly amendment to increase it to 4.
Okay.
And that's what was laid on the table, that's all I'm saying.
Just the two hens.
So, since that's what's before us, we just leave it as is, right? Okay, thank you.
Now, there's a roll call requested by Councilor Recupero. Any more discussion?
Any more discussion? Did you want to speak? Ahead, Councilor Bishop.
Chelsea is an urban area. It's not an area where I don't think that it's proper to raise chickens or have somebody next door to you having chickens. This city, thanks to the city manager and the city council, spends a lot of money on rat control and baiting and sewers, baiting properties. We spent $360,000 on new barrels, rat-proof, so that, the trash goes in them and the rats can't get into the barrels. $360,000. And now we're going to allow people to have chickens? I mean, speaking to those that do the rat prevention, and I do speak to them often, that's what draws them. That causes more rats to accumulate because they eat the feed that the chickens they have on the ground and the waste that they put on the ground. So I really don't think there's anything wrong with having the approval of the Board of Health. What is wrong with that? It shouldn't be automatic, you can just have chickens. This is not an area we're not in Pittsburgh, we're in Chelsea. It's a densely populated area that the people next to you may not want that, but they have to put up with it because we've okayed it. I don't think it's a wise move, and I'll be voting against it.
Councilor Recupero, you have the floor.
My fellow councilor says rat control. I was the first person in this city to get the rats to be under control. The rats, you're never going to control because you're digging up the city. For another, the city allows you to have rabbits. You can have 150 rabbits and have no problems with it. You can have all the rabbits you want, which rabbits bring more than the chickens. Here, you're only allowed to have 2 hens. And as far as an urban area, like my fellow councilor says, Somerville has them. Somerville allows you. You know, it's only for people that wish to do so. What is the average? An average person is not going to put chickens and put 150 chickens. 2 hens don't do nothing. They don't even make any noise. For anybody that's had birds, you got 2 birds in your house in a cage, what noise do they make? A chicken, depends, the biggest chicken you have maybe weighs 4 pounds. So you got 2 8-pound chickens. You can have 1 French rabbit that weighs 18 pounds. And you're allowed to have as many as you want of them. So we should have the choice if we wish to have them. You're limiting them. You're only saying you can have 2. We're not a communist country where everything is done by them. You can't do this and you can't do that. What happened to our freedom? If we're going to say, you're going to start with restricting you to do this, eventually you're going to restrict you to walk the street. They're going to charge you to breathe the air. You don't want to do that. At least give someone a choice. 2 chickens or 2 hens doesn't kill anybody, and it's work to get them done. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not asking for 50 chickens. You can have all the rabbits, but why can't you have 2 chickens? Most people don't mind having 2 chickens. You want fresh eggs? Why not? Everything is chemicalized. You should have the choice. If you want to have a nice fresh egg, you should. You shouldn't go to the store and buy an egg that's already full of hormones and who knows what else is in it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, Councilor Garcia?
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief, just because I know that there are more pressing social issues in our community that we should be addressing. But I also just want to point out that Mr. Recupero, my colleague Councilor Recupero, is right. In Somerville, there is an opportunity for residents to have chickens, and it brings no harm. Actually, a very close friend of mine who is a chef but also believes in sustainability has chickens in his home, and he plants, and he's very into having this clean lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle, and some folks want to have chickens not as pets, but as an opportunity to be able to grow food that is not involved with all these antibiotics. So I don't see harm in it. I would actually like to get going with other pressing issues in our community, but I don't see any harm in having 2 chickens and how that's going to exacerbate any more issues in our community that we've mitigated in other ways. So thanks.
Yes, sir.
I believe that the Somerville regulations require that you also get permission from the Board of Health, as it is in Chelsea now. What's wrong with that?
Are you asking the city solicitor?
I'm asking the person that just spoke. She quoted Somerville. Is she aware of the rules in Somerville?
Somerville.
Okay, all right, so let's just end that there. Do any other councilors wish to speak on this? Yeah.
Be very brief. I'll try to be brief as possible. I'm actually against it. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just heard 2 of my colleagues said about the chickens in the house. And again, I think when we're a dense community where you bring these chickens in-house, you bring in who knows what type of diseases, what type of bacteria. I think if we're going to go forward with this, we should have some solid proof, some education about what potentially can happen by bringing these chickens in-house. And both of my councilors spoke of having chickens in houses. And I just think if we're going to do it and make a decision on it, that we should have some support to sustain it, and we should have a review from our Board of Health. Thank you.
Councilor Recupero, are you willing to send this to subcommittee and conference so we could get more information about what Somerville does, what it looks like? Because if we vote on it now and it gets denied, then you can't bring it up for 90 days. Why don't we go send it to subcommittee and conference? I assure you we'll schedule it.
Take the vote now, either we do it or we don't. Because we take it to subcommittee, it ain't going to make no difference. The ones that are against it are going to be against it no matter what it is.
Okay, I was just offering an alternative, but if you want to vote on it now, is that what you want? Okay. Okay, Councilor Robinson.
I'll be brief. Actually, I know somebody who had chickens in Swampscott, and he was forced to get rid of them because they were bringing rats and other insects to his neighborhood. And a group of people got together and had him get rid of the chickens.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Anybody else wish to speak on the matter? All right.
Roll call. We have a roll call on the order, and a yes vote would be to grant it, no vote would be to deny it. Councilor Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Vido.
Yes.
Councilor Avellaneda absent. Councilor Rodriguez absent. Councilor Lopez.
Yes.
Councilor Brown. No. Councilor Pilatanda. Yes. Councilor Tejada.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
No.
Councilor Bishop.
No.
And Councilor Recupero.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Get your chickens.
6 in favor, 3 opposed, 2 absent. Motion adopted.
Next order of business,
Second readings?
second readings, appointments to boards and commissions.
Yeah. We have the appointments to boards and commissions.
I just want, before we do a motion, I just want to read the names of the people. For appointment to the Human Rights Commission, Mr. Christian de Jesus Franco from 72 Willow Street. For appointment to the Human Rights Commission, Mr. Michael Palma, 28 Woodlawn Ave in Chelsea, to serve the remainder of the term of Ms. Roberta Rodriguez Lugo, who has moved out of the city. For appointment to the New Chelsea Disability Commission for terms expiring on September 30th of the identified years, Karen Celaya from 18 Carmel Street in Chelsea, Barbara Rivera, 53 Maverick Street, Apartment 1 in Chelsea, Alexander J. Floyd Vargas of 260 Clark Ave in Chelsea, Maureen Colley of 150 Captain's Row in Chelsea, Marianne Winship, 62 Beacon Street in Chelsea, Robert J. Bork of 95 Sagamore Avenue in Chelsea, and Mr. Fidel Maltez, Public Works Commission and ADA Coordinator. Can I have a motion on this, on the boards and commissions?
Vote on the adoption.
Move
There
to
are no
roll call.
objections.
Seeing none? We're roll calling anyway.
Yes, roll
Yeah,
call.
we're roll calling, yeah.
Roll call, yes, yeah. A yes would be to grant the boards and commissions their appointments. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
Councilor Avellaneda absent. Councilor Rodriguez absent. Councilor Lopez?
Yes.
Councilor Brown? Yes. Councilor Pilatanda? Yes. Councilor Tahada? Yes. Councilor Robinson? Yes. Councilor Bishop? Yes. And Councilor Ray Recupero? Yes. 9 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. The
Congratulations.
appointments are affirmed. Under new business, first order under new business, Councilor Vido introduced an order that pursuant to the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 164 and 134, the Chelsea City Council hereby authorizes the city manager to develop a municipal electric aggregation plan and to take any and all action necessary to prepare the plan for submission to the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities. However, such plan shall not be submitted to the DPU until such plan has been formally approved by the City Council.
Can I have a motion?
If there are no objections,
Councilor Robinson moves it to a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. A yes would be to grant the city manager the authority to go forward, and a no would be to deny it.
The municipal aggregate electricity,
Aggregation.
yeah.
The new supplier for the, okay, Eversource. Leo Robertson, roll call. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
Councilor Avellaneda absent. Councilor Rodriguez absent. Councilor Lopez?
Yes.
Councilor Brown? Yes. Councilor Pilatanda? Yes. Councilor Tahada? Yes. Councilor Robinson? Yes. Councilor Bishop? Yes. And Councilor Recupero? Yes. 9 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. The order is adopted. The next order introduced by Councilor Vido. Whereas the city of Chelsea has all its allotted on-premises liquor licenses and had very little, if no control over whom said liquor license.
Yeah. Okay, so we sent the communication to conference, but this is the actual home rule petition for the liquor licenses. It's going to a subcommittee on conference.
Okay. The next order, introduced by Councilor Vido, ordered that the warrant for the November 5th, 2019 city election be accepted.
Councilor Bishop moves roll call.
A yes would be to grant the election, a no would be to deny the election. Councilor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
Councilor Avellaneda absent. Councilor Rodriguez absent. Councilor Lopez?
Yes.
Councilor Brown? Yes. Councilor Pilatanda? Yes. Councilor Tahada? Yes. Councilor Robinson? Yes. Councilor Bishop? Yes. And Councilor Recupero? Yes. 9 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. The order is adopted. Next order introduced by Councilor Pilatanda. Ordered that the city manager instruct the DPW commissioner to post signs in all city parks throughout the city stating the hours of operation and its enforcement.
Councilor Pilatanda. You have the floor, Counselor.
Suspension?
Under suspension.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the city parks don't have the proper signage there right now stating the hours of operation, and that it's being enforced by the Chelsea City Police Department. A lot of people using the parks today are staying there after the 9 o'clock allotted time, and for safety reasons, I think we should make sure we have the appropriate signage throughout all our city parks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pilatonda. Last order, introduced by Councilor Pilatonda and Councilor Giovanni Recupero. Ordered that the city manager look into doing a study to find out what side effects the residents of Chelsea may have due to the carbon monoxide and the dumping of fuel by planes flying into Logan Airport over Chelsea. Councilor
I'd like
Pilatonda,
to send this to a subcommittee on conference and speak on it.
you have the floor.
So, we seem to be talking a lot about the noise from the planes flying over Chelsea, but nobody seems to want to talk about the environment itself, where the planes are causing all kinds of carbon monoxide, and if they have to be flying around the area before they land, they're dumping fuel over our city before they're coming into Logan Airport. So I think this would be a good idea to have a conference on this, so we can all discuss this and see what it would cost to do some type of survey on this here, so we can approach Massport about the planes flying into Chelsea. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay. That concludes the meeting. Public announcements? Any public announcements?
I have a public announcement.
Okay.
On Wednesday night, the Chelsea Chamber is their biggest fundraiser that they do for the year, and they give away $10,000. And actually, I hope to see some of us there supporting the work that the Chamber does and the new adventures that they're taking on. So,
Anybody else for public announcements? Going once? This is our last meeting before the city election. That's on Tuesday, November 5th. I want to make sure to remind the community to make sure to get out and vote on Tuesday, November 5th. The date to register to vote has already passed, so just make sure you get out and vote, and I want to wish luck to all of my colleagues, including myself. And just make sure you get out and vote. Councilor Lopez, did you have something you wanted to say?
I had a moment of silence.
Hold on to that. Councilor Brown.
Also, anybody that's interested in the Democratic or state Republican ward and town committees, every 4 years on the presidential ballot, you have to be elected. I know that a lot of the wards are, we have 4 wards here. 3 of the wards are already up and operating. And if you are interested in becoming a member of the Republican Town Committee or the Democratic Town Committee, this is a good year to do it, because this is the year that you can actually get on the slate. You go out, you put your name on the ballot, and you get elected, and you will be a member for the 4 years. So if you're interested, you can give us a call. You can call myself, or you can call the Republican State Party or the Democratic State Party and get information for folks here in Chelsea who can get you into the right wards. Thank you.
Okay. I also want to let people know that tomorrow we have a subcommittee on conference at 6 p.m. regarding assessing and the assessment of properties here in Chelsea. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out to our city solicitor for a very very successful event this past weekend for Chelsea Day. It was a beautiful celebration of all things in Chelsea. There were people, all types of people, business folks, youth programs. It was just a real show of community. So I wanted to thank everybody that participated in that and commend the city solicitor for putting that together. And now moments of silence.
Yes, I would like to have a moment of silence for Robert Carter, who passed away on 9/27/19. Robert Carter used to live at Chelsea Soldier Home. He was a veteran and also a co-worker of our ex-colleague, Dan Cortel.
And also, I want to have a moment of silence for Rob Hinckley, who was a Chelsea resident that was murdered in Everett.
A local Chelsea youth who was involved in a lot of youth activities that I was involved in with him, and he passed.
Lorraine Monahan, who was the wife of a Chelsea firefighter, and an employee of the city clerk's office for 20 to 25 years. Thank you. Seeing no further business before us, we're adjourned.